All right, Foggy Mountain Breakdown, Vamping. Vamping is a style of backup that works great behind a mandolin player, definitely behind another banjo player because we usually don't want to be rolling at the same time, and behind a dobro player as well. It really can be used almost any time, but those are kind of the main instances. A lot of the time when backing up a fiddler, we might want to lean more towards a rolling backup, okay? So the vamping is kind of this shorter, more staccato thing, and here we just have very simple vamping, right? So we're staying kind of mostly in between the 2nd and 5th fret, starting off with this major chord shape, this root shape, which means that the root note is going to be on your lowest string. And because we have this major chord shape with our ring finger at the 5th fret, this 5th fret D string note is a G note. So this is therefore a G chord based on this shape and how the banjo is tuned, right? And so with the vamping, we're going to hit that thumb note first with these chord fingers down. Then we're going to pinch those 3 and lightly release them right after we pick the note. Now we don't want to have our fingers come off the string. We just want to release pressure and have our fingers maintain contact with the string so that we deaden the note, right? So we kill the sustain. Now, how quickly you cut off that sustain is up to you, and it's a kind of a personal taste thing, okay? So that's what we're using when we're on the G chord in the basic arrangement of this. Now, when we go to the E minor, we're actually going to go to what's called a first inversion, right? And it's right close to where we're playing this G major chord, which is nice. We're not having to make a big shift. All right, we're not having to go way up the neck to find the E minor chord, which, by the way, the root shape E minor chord, way up here at the 14th fret, so it's a big shift. So by using this inversion, right, we're able to get that E minor sound without moving a lot, okay? And now inversion, I know it's a technical term. Basically, most chords have 3 notes, a root, a major or minor note, and something called a perfect 5th. Now an inversion is just where we switch up the order. So instead of having the root in the bottom, we have the minor 3rd in the low note, okay? And just listening to it, you can hear it has kind of that minor quality, right? If we were going to play an E major chord, right, totally different sound. Right, but we're playing Foggy Mountain Breakdown. We're hitting that E minor. So this is the shape that we're going to use, right? Make sure to pay attention to the fingerings that are in the tab, and that will kind of serve you very well when trying to play these things correctly, okay? All right, and then when we go to the D major, we're also playing a first inversion chord here, not a root shape. This is not a D note, the note that's on our D string. Right here, 4th fret, not a D note. That's why it is not called a root shape chord. But it's really close to that G major root shape, and that's why we're going to use it, right? So we don't have to move a lot when playing the backup. We want to start off simple with our backup, make sure our timing is very, very accurate. Also, starting off simple gives us a safety net. So when we do learn some more advanced backup riffs, if we happen to mess them up, we can just go to this simple thing and not worry about the fancy stuff that we learned, right? We want to have a safety net when playing, whether that's backup or lead. Always good to have a safety net. All right, so there's a lot of great licks here, some that aren't too much more of a challenge than just the basic arrangement that you guys should definitely check out. Even the vamping lick for number 1 is great because what it does is it moves us from G root shape to G first inversion. Anytime you have this shape right here, as I said, that's the root shape of the chord. And if you have this, whether we're playing the G here or the C here, or the A here, whatever, what have you, if we have this shape, and if we move up 4 frets and flip the middle and index fingers, that's our first inversion for the chord, right? So here's root shape G, G first inversion, right? All the same notes. This is G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B. right? So as I said, most chords have 3 notes. As you can see, each of these chords had a note repeated. This is both D string and D string. So if we play notes that are on the same fret anywhere, that's the same note, okay? And we're going to use that kind of vamping thing that we did in the basic when going between the inversion here in the root shape. 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? You might want to just use that focus feature once you select the lick to practice it repeatedly. Once you have it down by itself, then try to add it in context. So this lick is really cool. Anytime you're sitting on a G major or A major chord, not A major is in the note, but just a major chord. Anytime you're sitting on a major chord for a long time, kind of flipping between the root shape and the first inversion can give you just a more interesting sound for your backup and not get in the way of the lead player too much. All right, vamping number 2 lick for measure 1 is doing the same thing in regards to like we're moving from this root shape to first inversion, but we've got a bit of a different right hand pattern here, right? So we're starting off with kind of the chop here, the vamp, boom chuck, all kind of similar, all kind of intertwined, right? Right, but when we move up, we're gonna do a double thumb here and play it both on the D string, or yeah, the D string here, the 4th string, and the G string, the 3rd string, right? Both thumb notes there. And then pinch with those index and middle fingers. This is a really cool one. I really like this one a lot. It might be a little bit of a challenge for you, so you might need to use that focus feature to loop and practice that measure, or just practice this piece of it kind of by yourself. Right? But up to speed, it's really, really cool. So definitely check that one out. If you check out some of the licks that are where the E minor chord is, we're kind of doing the same thing as the G. We're going between actually first inversion here and second inversion up here. Right, and there's some varying degrees of the right hand pattern, just like we had in the vamping number 2 lick for measure 1. But something you can do when going up to these higher chord positions and you need to come back down is actually slide out of the licks. It's something Earl did a lot, and it's a win-win because you both get to slide out of this higher position and set yourself up to play, you know, wherever you happen to be before, but it's also a thing that adds a lot of style, character, and color to your backup as well. So as I said, win-win, really cool thing. Try it out, do it, and as you can see in the tablature, there's little kind of slide out marks on some of these licks, and you'll be able to hear it as well if you listen to the Tunefox player, which, by the way, use the Tunefox player to listen repeatedly kind of before practicing and before learning a new lick. We want to listen a bunch and get the sounds in our ears before we play them, and make that a regular part of your practice before you play, to listen before practicing. All right, there's more licks in there. There's lots of stuff for you guys to check out. Use your Tunefox tools to practice this stuff wisely in the clever way, okay? And dig in, have a lot of fun, and make sure we practice repeatedly, right? Not just trying to go one time through, trying to go a bunch of times through. We want to build up that endurance, especially if you're wanting to play with others. All right, dig in and have fun, y'all.